I'm not going to be dogmatic, but as soon as you see men dressing like women, it's Armageddon. It's the end times. I'm not going to be dogmatic though. But trust me, bro, if you see men dressing in dresses, it's the end of the world. Don't worry about the capitalist fucking moguls that are destroying the planet day in and day out. It's the men wearing dresses. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Hey comrades, welcome back to the channel. I'm the Obnoxious Anarchist. Alright, so let's move on here. Now I want to talk about the cringe video that I want to feature in today's live stream is none other than Tim Pool. This fucking moron. Alright, well, to be completely honest with you, I don't ever watch Tim Pool. His content, if not nefarious, borders on just like ridiculous. It's to use a tired old figure of speech. Like I feel like I'm losing brain cells every time I listen to this guy and shit like that. But anyways, first we'll go through this. Obviously, I don't want to watch this whole 22 minutes. I'm not able to put myself through that amount of pain. But here, so the title is France says American leftism out of control, wokeness are toxic and threaten French culture. This is incredibly funny because, like, first of all, this idea of wokeness, which I'll get into a little bit later about, like, what woke actually means. Well, if we're looking at wokeness as just adherence to, like, social justice and stuff like that, caring about social injustice and shit like that, that's not unique to America. It's kind of fucking... There are strains of progressiveness that happen everywhere, so just... Anyways, let's hear what this dumpster fire has to say. I mean, maybe he can completely change my worldview in half a second. Let's see. I'm not showing this to give any kind of credence or legitimacy to what this guy is talking about. I kind of just want to watch a bit of 5 minutes and laugh at him a bit, you know?
I think so. Politicians and prominent intellectuals say social theories from the U.S. on race, gender, and post-colonialism are a threat to French identity and the French Republic. Now that is amazing.
Let's just go back for a second. Politicians and prominent intellectuals say social theories from the United States on race, gender, post-colonialism are a threat to French identity and the French Republic. Well, I'd have to say one thing to France. Don't act like you don't have race problems in France. B, don't act like you don't have gender problems in France. And C, don't act like France is not a post-colonial, neo-colonial nation right now. So, right off the bat, Tim Pool reads this tiny little abstract and, like, it's kind of weird because he sounds excited about it. He sounds like as if, like, this is some kind of a fair representation of progressive ideas coming from the evil United States of America.
Are a threat to French identity and the French Republic. Now that is amazing.
That is amazing. That's amazing.
They say high-profile intellectuals and journalists are warning that progressive American ideas, specifically on race, gender, post-colonialism, are undermining their society.
France right now is on a fucking brink of passing a bill that if you film the police for... Yeah, if you just film the police or take a picture of the police, you can be charged and you can go to jail for up to a year in prison. And all of this special law that they're creating and all of this backlash that's happening in France at the moment, this is all because a black man was beaten savagely on a camera by police. And that fucking footage was leaked to the public. So, like, to assume that race theory and post-colonial theory and gender theory and all that kind of stuff is specific to America, I mean, that's just fucking A, it's incorrect. B, it's malicious. But yeah, if anybody, like, is interested in learning about, like, the colonial context of France, you should read Frantz Fanon and stuff like that. Learn about the war in Algeria, how they conquered Algeria, how they conquered Morocco. There have been race problems in fucking France spanning back probably hundreds and hundreds of years. So to assume that, you know, all these things are coming from the United States, it's a little bit disingenuous. Not only that, but it feeds into narratives of the right wing and other reactionary reactionary tendencies around the world. You know, because a lot of people think that like it's a Western thing that we you know, like let's say, okay, gender abolition, not even gender abolition theory, just fucking like recognition of trans people, seeing gender as a spectrum, feminism, things like that. They're like a lot of the times I see in the reactionary circles, it's pointed to as like Western decadence or like Western bourgeois and shit like that. But at the same time, we have to understand that it's the Western model of mother, father, cis heterosexual. That's what was used to colonize the world. We're not using gender theory to colonize the world. This is like... anyways, I understand why Macron is doing it, because currently in France there's about to be an election, and he wants to take voters away from Marine Le Pen, who is, you know, obviously the very far-right candidate, you know? For so far we've watched, and 31 seconds in, Tim Pool is excited about an abstract that is completely ahistorical. But I wouldn't expect anything less from Mr. Tim Chud, Pim Chud Tool over here, as that dude over there says. Yo, you guys are funny.
That progressive American ideas, specifically on race, gender, post-colonialism, are undermining their society. There's a battle to wage against an intellectual matrix from American universities, warned Mr. Macron's education minister. Emboldened by these comments, prominent intellectuals have banded together against what they regard as contamination by the out-of-control woke leftism of American campuses.
Regarded as a contamination. We know where that language starts to go, right? And this fucking article was written in the New York Times. Tim Pool is so happy that he found this reactionary article from a fucking liberal news source. But Tim Pool, your analysis is completely wrong. There's no what we call the left and liberal in the United States does not exist. It's just center right. So I don't know why you're shocked that the New York Times magazine, the New York Times newspaper would put out an article that you somewhat disagree with. And yeah, Pippa, exactly. Like, dude, as soon as people start using shit like this, like especially white reactionary people using words like contamination, vermin, especially like or infections and like diseases, is like dude, this is language that Hitler used to use before he would dehumanize groups of people, and we all know where that leads, you know. He highlights woke leftist and American campuses as if French campuses are not fucking progressive. Have you ever heard of the Sorbonne? Have you ever heard of 1968? Like, this person is completely ahistorical. And 1968, this was 50 years ago. I mean, about 7 years ago. It's not that far. This is not ancient history. Let's just continue.
And attendant cancel culture. Of all of the countries in Europe that we would point to, France is particularly left.
France is not particularly left. Like, there have been like socialist projects that have happened in France, yes, but they have all been fucking destroyed violently. That is not the sign of a progressive left-wing country. That's the sign of a right-wing reactionary country that's willing to fucking like people at the Paris Commune. I think the Commune at its height was about 30,000 people, and the French state killed everybody. Like, just fucking started shooting everybody. So I don't know where this guy gets his idea that he thinks that France is a left-wing country. Come on.
Everyone likes to point to Scandinavia, but come on. The French Revolution, the leftists, the socialists, the Jacobins.
Yo, this guy is so off the mark.
I'm not saying that they're the furthest left, but, you know, they're one of the examples people cite. The Jacobins. I'm not saying that they're the furthest left, but, you know, they're one of the examples people cite. Jacobins. I'm not saying that they're the furthest left, but, you know, they're one of the examples people cite.
I'm not saying that they're far left, but it's one of the examples that people cite. So, bro, where are you getting your ideas from? From these, like, just random people who cite France as a leftist country, so you go back and you regurgitate it without having any kind of like investigation of on your own, you know? Person one asks for my opinions on Jacobin Mag. Sometimes they write good shit. A lot of times they write some shit. Let's continue here.
They're stepping up and saying nah to all this stuff, which is good. Because in my opinion, the wokeness on the left is infecting left ideas.
Well, here we go again.
Because in my opinion, the wokeness on the left is infecting left ideas. And
the wokeness on the left is affecting left ideas. I'm pretty sure that if we asked Tim Pool if I ask Tim Pool what is the crux of left politics, he will not know that it's anti-capitalist.
wait, the wokeness on the left is infecting left ideas and turning it into a weird dogmatic cult ideology that makes no sense. And I saw
A weird dogmatic cult ideology that makes no sense. It seems like he's really projecting here. This person fails to even vaguely describe what he believes in on a regular basis. When it's convenient for him, he'll say he's left. When it's convenient for him, he'll say he's right. But if you really look at the overall content that he creates, look, just with the language, out of control wokeness, and he's fucking horny about this article. He's fucking like, he's getting turned on by it. He's so happy that the supposed socialist utopia of France is talking bad against women's rights, LGBTQ rights. You know what I mean? Like, this guy is fucking losing it. Has lost it.
the best tweet to explain it. You guys, I want.
Everybody, listen to this. Tim Pool saw a tweet that can best describe his idea of what he's talking about right here. Let's see what this tweet has to say. This enlightened tweet here.
It makes no sense. And I saw the best tweet to explain it. You guys, I want to hear your thoughts on this. I saw a really wonderful tweet breaking down like gender ideology. They said sexism is when you say, when someone says that women should be, they believe, doing the dishes, not men. Feminism is when the woman comes out and says both men and women can be doing the dishes. And gender ideology says anybody who does the dishes is a woman. You get it?
Dude, this guy is delusional. First of all, what are these simplistic fucking definitions of what he's talking about?
Feminism is when the woman comes out and says both men and women can be doing the dishes.
Feminism is both men and women can do the dishes. Okay, Tim Pool, thank you. Thank you for that. In this tweet that best describes what you're thinking here. Oh, it's fantastic.
And gender ideology says anybody who does the dishes is a woman.
First of all, what do you mean by gender ideology? Like, because there really is no ideology behind it. Gender is a social construct, and sex is biological. Social constructs help us understand our biological ties. This is not some kind of like out there theory. It really is just fucking like basic social sciences. I don't know what this person thinks, and and this is what he's upset about. So people who believe in gender as a spectrum just want it means that if you wear a dress you're a woman. Yo, come on, man.
You get it? Like that's pretty, like, I saw that and I was like, that's actually a good example of like what's happening. Because you look at actual traditional feminism and it's like women and men can wear whatever they want.
No, traditional feminism, especially, if you're talking about fucking United States and Canada and stuff like that, traditional feminism was about suffrage. It was for the right for white women to have the vote.
Now, in the modern era of this critical theory, it's whoever wears feminine clothes is a woman and whoever wears masculine clothes is a man, which doesn't make a whole...
I assume he's trying to talk about transgender here, but that's not what transgender is. You can't just, wear a dress and... there's a lot of people who wore dress, like Fat Mike from NoFX wears a dress and he still calls himself a man. Kurt Cobain used to wear a dress and he still calls himself a man. Just because drag queens wear dresses, but a lot of them still consider themselves men. They don't consider themselves trans. So you can already see that he's just looking for an opportunity to pin vulnerable people, especially trans people, into a corner. You deny their existence by completely like changing the definition of what it means to be trans and stuff like that.
Whole lot of sense.
I've read obviously in like religious in Islamic scripture that like a sign of the end of times is like when you cannot tell the difference between men and women.
Is that really in there?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's kind of scary.
This guy is not. That is not a thing. I've done like a little bit of research on the subject, and I do know that like, okay, one sign of the end times in Islam is that you will have way more women than men. So the polygamy would have to, it would be like really like 50 women for one man. Why doesn't he talk about the fucking 40 or 50 other signs of the end times in Islam? To him, the end of times is that men look like women, women look like men. Armageddon. This dude doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
To be dogmatic and just preach to you what is right.
I'm not going to be dogmatic, but as soon as you see men dressing like women, it's Armageddon. It's the end times. I'm not going to be dogmatic though. But trust me, bro, if you see men dressing in dresses, it's the end of the world. Don't worry about the capitalist fucking moguls that are destroying the planet day in and day out. It's the men wearing dresses. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Was wrong.
So, let's read some comments quickly. Wokeness is a disgusting waste of time. Woke kids can't build anything. Anyone who calls themselves woke are ignorant cattle. Wokeness is a threat to humanity, not just France. It is embarrassing. Wokeness is considered American idea. So woke is a term that originated in the United States, referring to a perceived awareness of issues that concern social justice and racial justice. Seems pretty harmless, right? It derives from the African American vernacular English expression, stay woke, whose grammatical aspect refers to a continuing awareness of these issues. So either way, like the main point here is that wokeness comes from the African American community. Now that word gets reappropriated into the mainstream where it's mostly white people using it. And not only, they're not using it as it was meant to be used. In the black community, people would say, yeah, you're woke as a good thing. Like, yo, stay woke. I wanna be woke. I wanna be aware of the fucking the racism in this country. I don't want to be asleep no more. I want to be woke to this kind of stuff. It was generally a very positive thing. Okay, so that's it. This is how wokeness is perceived today. Person one says wokeness is when you post a black square on Insta and vote Biden. So like it's like this fake performative kind of thing, you know what I mean? But either way, as the term goes from the underground in the African American community, it's filtered into the mainstream, which is mostly white people. And what do white people do? Obviously, they're not going to use the word as it was intended to be used, but no, they pervert it. They start using woke not for people who are waking up to the myriad of social oppressions that exist in our society, but instead, wokeness is now used to refer to people, you know, who fight for social justice, but in a derogatory kind of way, in the way that we would describe, like on the left, like just liberals and stuff like that. So wokeness is just another example of black slang being appropriated by, the mainstream white community, and then just completely fucking changing the meaning of the word. Now it's not used as a term of endearment. Now it's used as a term of degradation and stuff like that. And not only that, but it's mostly used to refer to movements like Black Lives Matter and shit like that. So for me personally, taking the word woke out of its context, and then turning it around and using it like taking something from the black community, using it for your own ends, and then not only that, but turning it into something that is then used against the black community. Like, this is incredible. And it's the same thing with the term identity politics. The term identity politics gets, a bad rap, and it's like people like to say, oh, it's these libtards and all these woke leftists who use identity politics and shit like that, and it became a demeaning term. But realistically, if you look at the origins of the identity politics as a concept, it comes from the Combahee River Collective Statement, which was a statement written in 1977 by a bunch of black feminists, and it was explicitly a socialist project. So, again, they take these terms, they pervert them, and then the right elements use it as a way to put down the left. So, I mean, just try to keep woke out of your lexicon and shit like that. To me, it's